High energy introduction. Hi, my name is Andy. Welcome back to Thoughts in the Crossfire. So, I want to just try to stop the horde of dislikes a little bit and say that I'm going to go vegan once I move out. I'm already vegetarian. The main reason I'm not vegan is because I don't have an income right now. I'm living with my parents. I'm in school, so it's not really feasible. So that's the main reason. However, I'm not vegan because I care about animals anymore. I used to be, but now it's for environmental reasons. And I'm not vegan right now, I'm vegetarian, but like, it's for environmental reasons, and we'll get into why that is at the end of this video, I suppose, or I don't know, some point in this video. But I do want to try and name the trait. I actually do have a trait. I'm not just trying to like debunk the argument in some other way, but I do have the trait. So we'll get to that, but I first need to preface with a couple other things. I just want to say that I think veganism is great. I think veganism is good. The more vegans, the better, in my opinion. And I'm gonna go vegan once I, have control over my own stuff and I have a job and all that. But not because I think that animals have moral value. And actually, I don't think humans have innate moral value or inherent moral value either. So let's get into it. Name the Trait is a challenge that was started by a guy called Ask Yourself, YouTuber, does a lot of debates, talks about veganism a lot, and the challenge is basically this: name the trait which distinguishes humans and animals, a trait of animals that, if applied to humans, would permit the treatment of humans the way we currently treat animals, which is like killing them and torturing them and all sorts of terrible stuff, right? So name the trait that you could apply to humans, and then that would permit treating humans as property, enslaving them, torturing them, all that, right? And killing them for food, even though we don't have to. So, what is that trait? Please allow me to explain after I tell you the trait, but I will tell you it right now. The trait is the ability and intent to seek ethical truth, or to find out what ought to be done, what should be done, and to actually do what ought to be done. The one ethical fact that I kind of know is that the truth of ethics should be sought. That we should figure out what ought to be done, that we should figure out what should be done. If it turns out that there's nothing, that it's just nihilism out there, then whatever. I mean, it wasn't bad that we spent that energy, it wasn't good, it was just nothing, right? So whatever, right? If nihilism turns out to be the case, it doesn't matter what we actually do, right? That's the whole point. However, if it does turn out that there's some sort of real ethics, if it turns out that moral realism is correct in some way or another, then it really does matter that we figure that out. And so the basic fact of ethics that I base everything else off of, to the best of my ability, which is not very great because I'm a terribly flawed, irrational human, of course, but as far as I can, I base all of my decisions and all of my ethics off of that ethical fact that we should seek the truth of ethics. So in that way, it is a meta-ethical proposition, or if you talk about seeking the truth of meta-ethics, a meta-ethical proposition. However, you can see where this trait comes from. Humans have the intent and ability to do that. Animals, for the most part, do not, and none as far as I know. If we have record of animals doing philosophy, I guess I'd be interested in that, but I'm pretty sure they don't. So, there are a number of reasons why we should care about animals. The main one, for me, is environmental reasons, and that's really more of a reason to go vegan, because that's better for the environment by a long shot. And I believe it's something like 15% of greenhouse emissions are from animal agriculture. It's huge, and going vegan is the single biggest thing that you can do personally to combat climate change, which is why I'm going to do that when I move out, and it's why I'm vegetarian right now, because that's a big part of it. The point is, it's not because animals have that ethical value, because you gotta remember that I don't actually believe that there is inherent moral value in any of this. Right? I think that we should seek to find out what should be done. Maybe it actually will turn out to be the case that suffering should not happen, or something like that. Or that, the conscious processes which result in whatever, something like that. The kind of typical things that we like to base morality off of. Maybe that's going to turn out to be the case. I doubt it, but maybe it will. But regardless, I do know that we should seek that truth. And that basically comes from the idea that what should be done should be done. I mean, there's a tautology, almost a non-statement, but you can't disagree with it, right? What should be done should be done. From that, you can basically say the probability or the chance that what should be done is actually done should be increased. And then from that, you can say that, well, it's pretty hard to do what ought to be done if you don't know what ought to be done, so we should figure out what ought to be done. And that's assuming that we don't already know, and we don't already know. There is an incredible amount of disagreement about morality. Over a quarter of philosophers, moral philosophers, or I guess they wouldn't be moral philosophers, but anyway, over a quarter of philosophers are moral nihilists or moral anti-realists, meaning they don't even think that moral realism is correct, so we don't even agree that morals exist, and we certainly don't agree on what those foundations are or should be, and like we don't have it figured out, right? And anybody who says they do is overconfident by quite a margin. So basically, I want to try and figure it out, and that's kind of like the purpose of my life, as far as I can make it, I guess. So I'm going to go into computer science because basically I think that our best bet at figuring it out, if it's really there, is superintelligence, because we clearly are not doing a very good job. So there we go. That's the trait, and I think that's about it. I just want to stress again that I think veganism is good. I think it's more vegans better. I said that already, but anyway. My camera just moved on accident, and I guess that means that wasn't technically a jump cut, but it probably was pretty jarring. I apologize, but please go in the comments and tell me any disagreements you have. Let's discuss. I enjoy that. Also, if you want to just like talk on Discord or Skype or something, that's cool too, because live conversations are often much more enjoyable and productive than YouTube comment arguments. So yeah, that's cool. Ask yourself, if you're watching this, then I would love to talk to you as well. I would love to hear your moral realism arguments. Anybody who's watching, that's the basic reason. I think if I was convinced of moral realism, I would be convinced of animals having ethical value, on a gradient, of course, because obviously there's a gradient of consciousness. It's not black and white, but I would definitely, I definitely do that, and I think I would probably be more extreme with my veganism. And I might even like be vegan right now, even though it's not even really feasible, but I'd probably still do it because of the implications of how terrible that would be if moral values actually were inherent. So, but I just am really unconvinced of it, and the likelihood that of all the possible constructs in which moral realism is correct, the likelihood that the actual one is one where the specific combination of electrical signals and chemical signals that results in conscious experience of pain and pleasure has to be situated, like, that just seems so unlikely to me. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm rambling. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.